Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Say It. I am Sarah.
Hey everyone, great to have you here today. I'm Mike. Sarah, hold still. Let me make a photo of us before we start.
Wait, make a photo? That sounds off.
Does it? I feel like I've heard it both ways.
It should be take a photo, but now I'm actually curious why.
Right. If we're making dinner, making a decision, making a mess, why isn't a photo the same thing?
Because a photo already exists as a moment, right there in front of you. You're not creating it from nothing, you're just capturing it.
Oh, so take is about stepping into something that's already there, and make is about creating something new.
Exactly that. And that's genuinely just the surface. This one small word carries more meaning than almost any other verb in English.
How much more?
One single phrasal verb built from it, take up, carries 55 separately recorded meanings in the dictionary.
Wait, 55? From one phrase?
55. Today, we go all the way into take alone.
Let's get into it.
Let's actually start with the concept explaining everything we just did with that photo.
Go on.
Take, along with do, make, and have, is officially classified as a delexicalized verb.
A what?
A verb that's largely lost its own specific meaning. It relies almost entirely on the noun right after it to actually carry the meaning.
Give me an example.
Sure, take a break.
Take isn't really doing much there. Break is carrying the whole idea.
Exactly. Take a shower, take a photo, same pattern every time. Take is basically connective glue.
So it's less about take meaning something specific and more about what job the noun needs.
Right. And here's an honest gray area worth knowing. Take a decision does show up in some sources, especially British ones.
Wait, really? Isn't it always make a decision?
Usually, yes. Make a decision is the safer, more universal choice across American and British English both. But take a decision genuinely exists too. It's just less standard.
Huh. So even a clean framework has a few blurry edges.
Genuinely, yes. And that's worth knowing, honestly, rather than pretending every rule's perfectly clean. Take, do, make, have, all connective glue, and the noun does the real work.
That's the one. A whole framework from one small idea.
Take off is a great place to start, since it's got real range on its own.
How much range?
He took off his jacket because it was too warm. The plane took off on time. Her business really took off after she launched the website.
Removing clothes, a plane leaving the ground, and something suddenly succeeding.
3 genuinely different jobs, same 2 words, nothing physical connecting them except the general sense of departure. Leaving the ground, leaving behind the old, ordinary state of things.
Take on is next.
She decided to take on the new project. The company took on 3 new employees. They're taking on the champions this weekend.
Responsibility, hiring, competition.
Right. And notice, every single one is really about accepting something that's being placed in front of you. A task, a person, an opponent.
Take up.
She took up painting last year. The sofa takes up too much space. I'll take you up on that.
A hobby, physical space, and accepting an offer.
And this one's actually the 55 meaning phrase from the very start of the episode.
We're only scratching the surface of it then?
Barely a fraction. Take over is next.
Go on.
She took over the company after the founder retired. He took over the team mid-season and turned it around.
Control shifting to someone new both times.
Exactly that image. Whoever's in charge changes, and take over is the word for that handoff.
Take after is last for this round.
He really takes after his father. She takes after her mother, always the first one to help a stranger.
Looks and personality both.
Right. Take after isn't picky. Physical resemblance, character, mannerisms, all fair game.
5 real members down. Off, on, up, over, after.
And apparently we're only getting started. Take in is genuinely one of the richest members of the whole family.
How rich?
She was completely taken in by the salesperson's story. He took in everything the guide explained. The tailor took in the waist of the dress. They took in the stray dog for the winter.
Deceived, understood, altered, sheltered. 4 completely different things.
Right, and none of them share any real logic. Being tricked, absorbing information, adjusting fabric, and offering shelter. There's nothing tying those together at all. You genuinely just have to learn each one on its own.
Take back is next.
I take back what I said. She took the shirt back because it didn't fit.
One's practically an apology. The other's just a return policy.
Different situations completely, but notice the shared picture underneath, something moving backward, whether it's your own words or a shirt going back to the store.
Take down.
She took down his number. He took down the poster. The champion was taken down in the final round.
Writing, removing, defeating. 3 real jobs.
And the connection there is genuinely downward. Ink going down onto paper, a poster coming down off a wall, a fighter going down onto the mat.
Take out.
He took out the trash. He took her out for dinner.
One of those is significantly more romantic than the other.
Slightly, but same idea both times. Something or someone being moved out of one place and into another.
Take 2.
She took to her new coworker right away. He took to running every morning.
Fast both times, barely even a decision involved.
That's exactly the feeling. Take to is really about something clicking naturally and quickly, whether it's a person or a habit.
3 more, right?
Right. Take apart, take aside, take aback.
Go on.
He took apart the old radio. The manager took her aside after the meeting. I was taken aback by his response.
Disassembled, pulled away privately, shocked.
And notice, taken aback almost never appears any other way. Always passive, always that exact shape.
8 more members, 13 total.
And we've genuinely barely touched the full family.
I take back ever thinking this word was simple.
Only getting started is right. And there's actually one mechanical rule that decides how half of these phrasal verbs behave.
The separable versus inseparable thing.
Exactly that. Some of them, take apart, take aside, take away, take back, take down, take in, take up, are separable. A pronoun object has to sit between the verb and the particle.
So if I'm taking apart a radio and I switch to a pronoun,
Take it apart is correct. Take apart it is wrong.
right, the pronoun has to physically jump into the middle. Now others, take after, take on, take over, take to, are inseparable.
Meaning the object never goes in the middle, pronoun or not. You'd never say, take it after your father, or take him on the project. It has to be, take after your father, take on the project.
So it's not a small stylistic preference, it's a hard rule either way.
Genuinely hard. No exceptions on either side. Now, here's something I actually love.
What's that?
A real learner on an actual English lesson comment page wrote this: I've taken up English since last September. I took down notes of Adam's lesson. Hope my English can take off quickly to next level.
Wait, that's a real comment? Someone actually wrote that?
Completely real. Someone's own words. 3 different take phrasal verbs, all used correctly in one natural sentence.
That's genuinely the whole goal of today right there. Someone building fluency in real time, and it shows.
One more quick thing before we move on. Take over shifts its stress depending on whether it's a verb or a noun.
Give me both.
She'll take over the company, stress on over. But it was a hostile take over, stress moves to take.
Give me one more just to see it hold.
Sure, they'll take on more staff next year, stress on, but announcing a major new take on initiative, actually, that one doesn't really work as a noun the same way, does it?
Huh, good catch. Not every one of these actually converts into a noun that cleanly.
So the pattern's real, but it doesn't apply equally to every phrasal verb.
This word really does connect back to everything, even in the places it doesn't quite work.
Genuinely everything. There's a mix-up that trips people up just as much, though. Take versus bring.
The direction thing?
Right. Bring is movement toward the speaker. Take is movement away. Imagine you're sitting at your desk and you need a report from a coworker's office.
Bring me the report.
Notice the report is moving toward you, the speaker. Now imagine the opposite. You need something delivered somewhere else.
Take this letter to the bank.
Right, that's moving away from you. Same basic action, carrying something, but the verb flips depending purely on direction.
So it's really about where I'm standing when I say it.
Exactly. And there's a genuinely satisfying parallel here. Remember come and go from our reported speech episode? How they shift based on the reporter's own location?
Right. Come toward the speaker, go away from them.
Take and bring are basically the object-carrying cousins of that exact same logic.
Give me a real example working through it.
Sure. Imagine a boss instructing her secretary. Mary, please take this letter to the bank. They will give you some money. Take the money to the travel agent. They will give you some tickets. Then bring the tickets to me.
Take, then bring right at the end.
Exactly. Because the boss's own location is the final destination, everything moving toward her is bring, everything moving away is take.
Okay, that clicks. So the verb literally depends on who's speaking and where they physically are.
That's the whole rule. Now, here's an honest note worth knowing. A lot of native speakers just use take almost universally in casual speech.
Even when it's technically wrong?
Genuinely, yes, and it's still completely understood. But the distinction matters more in writing, professional settings, and exams.
Give me a memory trick for keeping it straight.
Here's a clean one. You'd never say, bring it away from me.
Right, because away only pairs naturally with take.
Exactly. Take it away is a fixed, natural phrase. Bring simply doesn't work that way.
One more thing worth mentioning, isn't there a whole cross-linguistic wrinkle here too?
There genuinely is, especially for Spanish speakers. English take maps onto several different Spanish words depending on context. Llevarse, coger, tomar, restar.
So it's not one confusing word splitting into many meanings, it's one flexible English word needing to be matched to several different Spanish ones.
Exactly the reverse challenge from what we usually see. Direction, the come-go parallel, and a real cross-linguistic wrinkle, all inside one small distinction.
Take really does keep surprising us.
It really does, and honestly, the surprises keep coming with this next batch, a rapid list of everyday collocations.
Give me the first set.
I need to take a shower before we go out. Let's take a seat. The meeting's about to start. You look exhausted. Take a break.
All genuinely just stepping into something already there. The shower, the seat, the break, none of them created, just used.
Exactly that signature. Work-related ones next.
Everyone needs to take part in the discussion. It's your job to take care of the client. Someone has to take responsibility for this mistake. It's time to take action.
Same idea. Stepping into a role that already exists, waiting to be filled.
Risk and time next.
I'm going to take a chance on this new restaurant. Take your time. There's no rush at all. Can you take notes during the call?
Take your time is genuinely one of my favorite phrases in English.
Why's that?
There's just no pressure built into it at all. The time is simply there for you to use.
A few more. Health and daily life. You need to take this medicine twice a day. I have to take an exam on Friday. Just take a look at this before you decide. The nurse will take your temperature first.
And one more, genuinely every day. People often take their health for granted until something goes wrong.
Right, assuming something will simply always be there, without appreciating it while you have it.
Notice, none of these are unusual. They're just everyday English, and every single one runs on that same take signature.
Stepping into something that's already available, over and over.
I've genuinely said half of these today already without even noticing.
Genuinely, most people have. And there's actually one more identity take carries entirely on its own, as a noun.
Not a verb at all?
Right, a completely different job. A take describes a particular way of presenting or interpreting something. This film offers a genuinely fresh take on the Romeo and Juliet story.
Give me one that's not about a movie.
Sure, I'd love to hear your take on this proposal before we send it out.
So it's about someone's angle, their specific version of an idea, whether it's a film or a work document.
Exactly that range. And two modern expressions grow directly out of it. First, a hot take.
I hear that constantly online.
Right, a deliberately provocative or strongly stated opinion, especially the kind people post just to get a reaction. That movie was terrible, and here's my hot take on why everyone's wrong about it.
Give me one from a different context.
Sure, my hot take is that pineapple genuinely belongs on pizza, and I will die on this hill.
Genuinely sounds like half of social media.
Pretty much. Second, a double take.
Give me one.
He walked right past her, then did a double take when he realized who she actually was.
Give me a second one just to lock it in.
Sure, she did a double take at the price tag, sure she'd misread it the first time.
Same pattern both times. First glance registers nothing, second glance actually catches the surprise.
Exactly that delay. Take as a noun genuinely lives its own separate life from all the verb meanings.
Its own life entirely. A perspective, a hot opinion, and a delayed double glance, all sharing the same 4 letters.
This word truly refuses to stay in one lane.
Genuinely refuses.
There's one idiom left that deserves real attention. Take the cake.
What's it mean?
Being the most remarkable or outrageous example of something, usually negative. I've seen bad customer service before, but this genuinely takes the cake.
So it's not just bad, it's the worst one I've personally seen.
Right. There's a real comparison built in. This beats everything else you're measuring it against. Give me one that's lighter.
Sure. Of all the excuses I've heard for being late, my goldfish needed emotional support takes the cake.
Notice, that one's actually funny, not frustrating. Does the idiom still work the same way?
Genuinely, yes. It's not about the feeling being negative, it's about being the most extreme example, whether that's the funniest or the worst.
Give me one more, something at work.
Sure, we've had some rough meetings, but that presentation genuinely took the cake.
So across all three, work, excuses, customer service, the phrase is doing the same job every time.
Right, always marking the extreme end of whatever category you're already talking about.
Worth knowing where it actually comes from briefly. It traces back to cakewalk competitions in Black communities in the American South, where the most graceful walkers literally won a cake.
So the winner of that contest was, quite literally, the one who took the cake.
Exactly. And that's genuinely why the modern meaning still makes sense. Best or most extreme still wins.
Is that connection actually confirmed, or is it just a folk story people repeat?
It's genuinely documented. This is the 5th time we've traced a real African-American contribution to everyday English, alongside be like, stressed been, from the get-go, and I feel you.
So it's not a coincidence. It's a real, recurring pattern in how English actually developed.
Exactly that pattern, worth real respect every time it shows up. One more thing, isn't there a British version too?
There is. Takes the biscuit. Same exact meaning, just a different baked good.
Why a biscuit instead of a cake? Any idea?
Honestly, no clear reason, just a regional preference in which treat got attached to the phrase.
Give me one using that version.
Sure. Honestly, forgetting his own anniversary really takes the biscuit.
I'll actually use takes the cake now, not just recognize it when I hear it.
Same. This one's going straight into regular use.
That's genuinely the goal. Let's do a quick bonus round. A batch of more idioms worth just knowing exist.
Starting where?
A genuinely clean, minimal pair. Give and take versus give or take.
Give me both.
A good marriage needs real give and take, mutual compromise on both sides. Compare that to, the trip took 3 hours, give or take.
One's about compromise, one's about approximation.
Right. Same 2 words, and swapping and for or completely changes the meaning. Take the bull by the horns is next.
Meaning?
Confronting a difficult situation directly and boldly without avoiding it. She finally took the bull by the horns and confronted her boss about the raise.
Give me one more.
Sure. Instead of waiting for the problem to fix itself, he took the bull by the horns and called the client directly.
Genuinely useful phrase for anyone avoiding a hard conversation.
Exactly that. A few more rapid fire. Take it easy. Genuinely 3 related meanings. A casual goodbye, an instruction to be gentle, and an instruction to relax.
Take it easy. I'll see you tomorrow. Take it easy on him. He's new. You should really just take it easy this weekend.
3 completely different tones, same 3 words. Take a rain check next.
Politely declining an invitation while suggesting later. I'd love to come, but can I take a rain check?
Take 5.
A short break. Let's take 5 before we start the next meeting.
Take the plunge.
Committing to something risky after hesitating. They finally took the plunge and bought the house.
Take it on the chin.
Enduring criticism bravely. He took the harsh feedback on the chin and kept working.
One more genuinely famous. You can't take it with you.
Wealth means nothing after death. And it's actually a genuinely famous old play and film title, too.
Right, from 1936 and 1938. A whole cluster of real, everyday idioms.
I've genuinely used at least 3 of these just this week.
I believe it, honestly. Let's actually test ourselves before the role play.
Quiz time, I'm ready.
Same as always, I give you a sentence with a blank. You fill it in and explain why. Then we switch.
Let's go. Hit me first.
Imagine a coworker starting a hobby completely out of nowhere. She's blank pottery, apparently, out of nowhere.
Taken up. It's specifically about beginning a new hobby, not just doing an activity once. So take up fits better than something like tried.
There it is. My turn to answer yours.
Okay, spot the error. The new manager took after the whole department last month.
Wrong. That's actually take over, taking control. Take after means resembling someone. Doesn't fit here at all.
Nailed it. Your turn again.
This one's about separability. Spot the error. Take apart it before you try to fix it.
Wrong. Needs to be take it apart. Separable phrasal verb. Pronoun goes in the middle.
Okay, that clicks. My turn again.
This one's about direction. Fill it. Imagine you're at your desk and need something from your coworker's office. Could you blank me that file?
Bring. The file needs to travel toward me, the speaker, sitting at my desk, so it can't be take, which would mean moving away from me.
That's the one. Last one, and it's about the idiom family. Fill in the blank. Of all the excuses I've heard, that one genuinely blank the cake.
Takes. The sentence needs present tense to match that one, and it's the correct form of the idiom, meaning the most outrageous example of something.
5 for 5 again.
Honestly, I never expected to feel this confident about one single verb. All right, quiz is done. Time for the real test. Let's see if all this holds up in a normal conversation.
Let's do it. 2 coworkers catching up before a busy week.
How's the new project going?
Honestly, a lot. I just took on managing the whole client account.
Whoa, that's a big responsibility. Are you handling it alone?
Mostly, I took over from Sarah when she left, and I'm still figuring out half the systems.
That's rough. Did she at least take you through everything before she left?
A little. She took down some notes for me, but honestly, I've had to take in most of it on my own.
Sounds exhausting. Are you taking any real breaks?
Barely. Could you take this file to accounting for me? I genuinely don't have 5 minutes today.
Sure, no problem. And hey, could you bring me the updated numbers when you get a chance?
Will do. Honestly, this week alone genuinely takes the cake for stress.
Let's pause there and break this down.
Good idea. First one, I took on managing the whole account.
Notice, that's a brand new duty being accepted, nothing she was doing before, so take on fits exactly, taking on a fresh responsibility.
2, I took over from Sarah.
Different job entirely. Someone else already had the role, and now control shifted to her. That's what makes it take over instead of take on.
3, she took down some notes.
Right, and notice this is Sarah writing something down before leaving, a completely literal, physical act of putting words on paper. 3 down. Next up, the trickier ones.
Go for it.
I've had to take in most of it.
And that's a totally different sense of the same word. This time it's about absorbing information mentally, not writing anything down at all.
Could you take this file to accounting?
Right, the file is leaving her desk and heading somewhere else entirely, away from the speaker, which is exactly why it has to be take, not bring.
Last 2.
Go on.
Could you bring me the updated numbers?
And this one flips completely. The numbers are coming toward the speaker this time, back to her own desk, so bring is the only option here.
This week genuinely takes the cake.
Right, and after everything she just described, a new responsibility, a rushed handover, no breaks, this genuinely is the most extreme week she's had, which is exactly what the idiom's built for.
7 different moments, and every single one meant something slightly different.
There you go. That's the whole purpose right there.
Let's lock in everything we covered before we go.
We covered a lot today. Let's go through it fast. Take, borrowed meaning, connective glue for the noun that follows.
Let's lock in everything we covered before we go.
We covered a lot today. Let's go through it fast. Take, borrowed meaning, connective glue for the noun that follows.
A genuinely massive phrasal verb family. Take off, on, up, over, after, in, back, down, out, to, apart, aside, aback.
Take versus bring. Direction matters. Toward the speaker or away.
A rich collocation list. Take as a noun, hot takes, and double takes.
And 2 real idiom moments. Take the cake's genuine history and take the bull by the horns.
So here's your practice for today. Write one sentence using any take phrasal verb or idiom in the comments. Something true about your actual week.
We read every single one.
And if you haven't seen it yet, this whole episode builds directly on our do, make, and take episode, where this all started.
That one's the perfect place to go next if you want the full 3-verb picture.
Subscribe to Say It if you haven't already.
Take care, everyone.
Bye, everyone.